What's up, everybody? Oh my goodness, today we're going to be talking about the one, the only, the Mouse House, the Mouse of House, House of Mouse. Yes, that's right. Disney, because they had a big shakeup in the CEO chair this past week. We're going to be deep diving into all of that because everybody knows my co-host has some strong opinions about this decision.
Yeah, I do. And March 18th, they transition. The new stuff is. It's interesting though, because if y'all didn't hear, yeah, there is a new guy in charge, but he's not alone. There's a new position created, and is he or is he not running the company by himself, or is it a team? We're going to dive into that because there's some very interesting things going on, and it's going to be an interesting conversation. And man, we're not the only ones talking about it though, man. The town, just like everywhere you looked, every trade, every studio head, everybody had an opinion on whether this was good or bad. So even creeped into Congress when they were grilling Ted Sarandos, about the Netflix Warner Brothers deal. Disney came up. So everybody's talking about it. This is going to be a fun one, man.
That's right. That's later on the show. Now, let's get a little crazy. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Did y'all see that? What?
Let's just throw Scream 6 in there for
it was good.
Movie. It was really good. The best of the franchise, in my opinion, since the first one.
Yeah. What's up, guys? Welcome back to ITCAFpodcast, the best entertainment-based podcast out there, where you know your host with the most, myself, J. Logan Austin, and of course, my co-host, Dustin M. Bergman.
Yes! What's
up?
Oh,
man. Feeling good. Excited to be back for the show. Let's take care of some business before diving into that new CEO talk. Of course, be sure to leave a rating on this podcast. Comment below and let us know what you actually think about the show. Because if you didn't know, leaving a rating on the show, it helps the people find this specific show. Tell your grandma, tell your uncle, tell your niece, tell your nephew. The word of mouth means everything in the podcast spectrum. So like I said, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share with anyone and everyone. That's for sure. And also be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. We also are filmmakers, so you can find our projects on our website as well. You can learn a little bit more about us on our website as well, so be sure to do that. But like we've been saying, it's all about the Mouse House this week. Man, oh man, a big decision has been made, especially since, Bob Chapek came in last time. Back in 2020, I think it was, lasted until 2022, completely took Disney's stock price all the way down really bad. So now, of course, Bob Iger's like, listen, man, I'm getting old. I need to retire. So they finally have made the announcement this past week who is going to be the next CEO of Disney. And it's going to be the parks guy, Josh D'Amaro. And I know you have some strong opinions about this. I have some opinions about this, but we definitely do want to dive deep into his personal legacy, where he came from, and what it looks like is going to happen moving forward with him captaining the ship. But it's obviously making news all around Hollywood. Everyone's talking about it. Like you said, Josh D'Amaro has been at the company. He's going to be the incumbent CEO. He has been at the company since 1998. That is about 28 years, y'all. So he's not no chip off the block. Okay, he's been around. He's the chairman of Disney Experiences, aka the parks, oversees the parks with 12 theme parks and 57 resorts across 6 global destinations. And of course, there's going to be a new one coming in Abu Dhabi. So yeah, obviously, I mean, he's a big name for the empire, for the brand. Of course, Disney is everywhere: United States, Europe, Asia, plus landmark theme park, of course, coming, like I said. He also leads Disney Consumer Products, home to the world's top licensing business for toys, apparel, and home goods, including the acclaimed Nat Geo franchise as well, the world's largest children print publisher, and Disney's digital game and apps business. This includes Disney's groundbreaking partnership with Epic Games to build a persistent digital universe within Fortnite's expansive ecosystem where the fans can play, watch, shop, and engage with beloved characters such as stories from Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, Avatar, and so many more. Now, that's 237 posts on his Instagram so far, and they're all Disney. So this guy lives and breathes the brand. At least that's what we know so far. That's what it looks like from the outskirts. And of course, we do want to dive into his internal life. We want to know where he came from. Is he actually the good person? Is he actually a good person for this role? So let's dive into his early life and education. He holds a bachelor degree in business administration from Georgetown University. And after college, he began his career in corporate finances at Gillette in Boston. Now, obviously, a strong business foundation before joining Disney in the financial operation role. Is this really what we need for Disney? I mean, it's been very interesting because obviously, right now, Disney is very involved in the parks. That's their main revenue builder. So is this the person we need? Is this the person who is going to continue moving us forward as far as new established IP that helps the parks continue to build up? That is the question. But I mean, like we said, he joined in 1998, overseed a whole bunch of stuff. A few key roles that he has held: Vice President of Sales and Travel Trade Marketing, Director of Business Planning Strategy, CFO of Disney Consumer Products, Global Licensing, VP of Adventures by Disney and Disney's Animal Kingdom, Senior Vice President of Resort Transportation Operations at Disney World. Obviously, the list goes on and on. And obviously, the most important one, Chairman of Disney Experiences, which includes, like I said earlier, the parks, resorts, cruise lines, Imagineering, consumer products, and so many more. Some notable achievements, though, before we continue moving on, is he led a $60 billion multi-year investment in the parks, cruises, and experiences, oversaw major expansions in the parks, including Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Avengers Campus, Disney Skyliner, Epcot Reimagining, and future theme lands. Disney Experiences achieved record revenues and operating income under his tenure. And on February 3rd of 2026, of course, he was named the new CEO and coming in on March 18th of 2026. Now, he's a deep operational leader with the parks and experiences. Obviously, he oversaw Disney's most financial robust division, trusted by the board, and Iger honestly seems like he's okay with this decision. So that's the thing. That's the thing. I mean, there was an ABC News live interview with both Bob Iger and Josh D'Amaro. I looked at it as kind of like a passing the torch situation. He seemed like a likable guy. He seemed very confident in what he was confident in. He did seem a little hesitant when it came to the entertainment space, as such as like Hollywood and television and things like that. But I think he's going to have a lot of reinforcements when it comes to President and CCO Dana Walden.
Yeah, well, so yeah, and I'm going to dive into Dana here in a minute, but one of the things that he was critiqued for is, everybody's touting that it was the biggest revenue generator for Disney, right? But there's a reason for that, because under D'Amaro, he raised prices significantly numerous times, and services that were once free in the parks, you have to pay for now. He also laid off a bunch of people. So when you lay off a bunch of people that you no longer have to pay and you raise ticket prices, revenue goes up. So it's not like it was some groundbreaking, revenue was because people were packing the parks. Attendance was down for the majority of it. I liken it to when, movie theaters say, well, yeah, but we made a ton of money, but you didn't sell any seats. You made money because you raised the ticket prices. So it's similar to that in me. And then, like you said, it was... Is he the right guy to move forward with innovation? He clearly likes innovation and evolution, but he seems heavily reliant upon past IP for the future, which could be a problem. I mean, that in my opinion, and I'll talk about that when we dive deeper into it. But just to give you guys a little bit about Dana, if you didn't know about Dana, she started off Fox Television Group. She was a longtime TV executive there. She served as the chairman and CEO of the Fox Television Group. She oversaw Fox Broadcasting Company and 20th Century Fox Television, Fox 21 Studios, Fox Consumer Products, 20th Television Syndication. Under her leadership, Fox Broadcasting rose from fourth. Remember when they first started Fox, it was like, why are they even doing this? It's a wannabe network. It's ABC, CBS, and NBC. Well, she took it from that wannabe network and turned it around into first place in the ratings. A major turnaround for the network. Her teams won hundreds of Emmys, Golden Globes, SAG, Peabody, and other awards over her Fox tenure. So, she's obviously a seasoned leader with decades of success turning around broadcasts, expanding scripted and cable content, and overseeing major franchises before she even got to Disney. There's a reason why Bob, after the 20th Century merger, kept her on board and touted her as the next leader. Remember, she was the one Bob was behind the whole time. I have a theory about why that changed, but we'll talk about that. When she did join Disney, you guys, she came to Disney when the company was, of course, acquired by Disney, with the 21st Century assets going to Disney. Initially, she served as chairman of Disney's general entertainment content, meaning she oversaw ABC Entertainment and News, Freeform, FX, Hulu Originals, and Disney TV Studios. We all know how successful that was. I mean, Hulu turned into a massive thing. FX became the go-to place for like adult, contemporary, original programming. It's where all the great shows were landed and wanted to be. Underneath her achievements, or underneath her leadership, some of the stuff she achieved was she became co-chairman of Disney Entertainment, and that's been since 2023, overseeing global streaming and television, including Disney Plus, Hulu, and ABC. Underneath her, Disney amassed a record Emmy nomination, 183 of them in 2024. Disney's direct-to-consumer business delivered multiple quarters of positive operating income. She's recognized in the industry awards and invited to public leadership boards all over Hollywood, and every company wants her. In 2025, it was widely reported that she was the top candidate for CEO and potentially would become the first woman to hold the role. That changed. We're going to talk about that. Why did that change? I have a theory. Some of the talking points for her under her leadership: creative and operational leader on streaming, television networks, and multi-brand content strategy, and she's unmatched in that. Championed original series and performances on Disney Plus and Hulu. Our buddy Danny Strong couldn't rave enough about her when everybody turned their back on Dope Sick, which became a massive hit. Dana championed it. Dana said, we'll take it. I'll fight at Disney to get it, and we'll make it, and boom, the rest is history. Maintained strong Emmy and award performances across all of Disney's brands. Now, she's not without controversy. She did have a little bit of a problem at Fox with one of the shows there where the actors say there was some creative financing going on and they were withholding profits that they were earned. That lingered for a little bit. Bob Iger got in the ring and defended her. It said it's not true. We can prove it's not true. I'm keeping her when we merge. And it ended up not being true. It was brought out what was really happening, what was going on. It was resolved. Now, here's why I think she wasn't named CEO. Okay? In September, you guys remember, there's no getting around this. ABC suspended Jimmy Kimmel Live for 5 days after a controversial monologue that he gave about Charlie Kirk. That suspension drew significant backlash from entertainers, unions, media figures, free speech advocates, basically everybody, with an open letter from Hollywood celebrities basically bashing the move. Now, Walden and Disney later clarified the decision, saying it was to de-escalate tensions, and denied that it was because of White House pressure. Now, I believe that that's true, but it was an embarrassment to the Mouse House. It did not go over well, and they took heavy criticism amongst not just the entertainment community, but amongst Disney fans. I think this heavily played into the role by the board to shift from her to Josh, because it was a form of, if you will, a punishment. It's like, we love you, we think you're great, but that was a big gaffe, and we can't let big gaffes happen, so we're going to step back from you a little bit. I truly think that's That's what happened. So in summary, she's an industry veteran. She's got strong creative and executive track records, massive success in driving television and streaming growth. Criticisms? Her management decisions involving political controversy sometimes get a little wishy-washy. Yeah. And after the disaster with Chapek, remember him and the White House and the whole, everybody, like the free speech stuff, that was a disaster. And I think that the board was like, uh-oh, are we doing this again with Jimmy Kimmel? I think that played heavily, and I've got some theories, and now we can dive deep into. But I really do think that's what happened. Because all the way up till literally just a couple of months ago, she was the front runner. She was considered the one that was going to be handed over the keys. And then all of a sudden, no. There were talk of co-CEOs. There was talk of somebody else. Now there's 5 people that could be named CEO. It's this person, this person, this person, this person. And it just seemed like a hard break and a stern turn to the right for no apparent reason. And that's the only thing that I can think of that maybe shook the board a little bit.
Most definitely. First and foremost, apparently they interviewed nearly 100 people for this position.
Externally
outside candidates
and internally, yeah.
and internally, yeah. Thank you. And it seems to obviously dwindle down to those 2 people internally. I don't think they were ever going to hire anyone externally.
No,
they
I don't
just
think so
had
either.
to interview people externally. But I mean, it is very interesting because, after that controversy, I mean, even before that, though, I felt like, the race definitely got dwindled down. I feel like I think it really landed on money. I think that's what really happened. And I mean, where they focused more on where they're generating the most money. And I mean, if you looked at the parks, yes, obviously the revenue is really freaking high. Yes, it is super freaking expensive to go there, but people are still paying for it. And I think that's inevitably what ended up having them make the decision that they made. Hey, this is the money that we're making as far as like our generational growth and see us moving forward. And it seemed like they went with that decision because, one, Josh D'Amaro seems like a likable guy. Obviously, Chapek was completely different. He also came from the parks division, but he wasn't a likable guy. He was like in different interviews at Disney World or at Disneyland. I can't remember where he was talking about the food and like bashing the people who ate the food. And it's like, yeah, completely wrong decision.
Yeah.
Like no one is fighting that. But Josh D'Amaro seems like somebody who a lot of people can gravitate towards, maybe like another Iger figure where people could gravitate towards him as well. Now, I think they did make a good decision, though, and putting Dana in that second spot. Is it a contingency plan? Maybe, and we can talk more about that as well.
Yeah, because
I mean, I do think, though, that it is kind of what you predicted, but it inevitably it's not, but it is kind of. If it was the co-CEO, yes, you would have gotten that right. But since it's not the co-CEO, it is not right.
Okay, so let me talk about that. I absolutely got the prediction wrong. Okay, she was not named CEO or co-CEO. Josh is the CEO. Dana, President and Chief Creative Officer. But here's why. Let me explain why I think it's basically she is, just not in title. It's basically effectively a dual leadership. Look at every announcement. They're both there. They both talk about how they'll do this. They'll do that. Okay. That's intentional. Make no mistake about it. That's intentional. And even though he was named, I think it's going to be a dual leadership side by side. And here's why. Functionality wise, the structure splits evenly right down the middle. They've already said what's going to be what. The 2 core powers at Disney. D'Amaro is going to be in charge of operations, the parks, strategy, financial execution. Okay, he's the money guy and coming from parks. That all makes sense. Dana, it's been made clear, is going to be in charge of all of the creative output. Film, TV, streaming, talent, the brand, and the voice of the company. Now, in practice, that means, right, that the decisions now require for both of them to be in alignment with each other, co-running the company. He's basically running the machine. She's running the soul of the company, what feeds the machine. So will it work? It can. And here's why I think it can. Because I don't want people to think I hate DeMauro. I don't. I think he's a solid guy. I think he's done a solid job. He's a great money guy. So here's why I think it can work and fail. I think it can work because Walden brings system-level creative authority. Talent trusts her, and long-term vision, she has it, okay? While DeMauro provides operational discipline, obviously, he's a money guy. He knows how to scale globally. He's proven that with the parks. And he's got financial execution. He has turned a profit. So together, they can heal Disney's core tension, which when Chapek was in control, was always a battle between money and creative, right? They can heal that. Definitely. Creativity and commerce. But they have to each be allowed to respect the boundaries and not get in each other's way. The second they get in each other's way, it fails. It'll fail horribly. And that's why, by saying this, if DeMauro starts to second guess any of Dana's creative decisions, or Walden overreaches into the financial aspects of it, saying, I need this or I need that, or you're causing me to this or you're causing me to that, then that misalignment happens. That's when the lines get blurred, and that's when everything gets ugly. So my point is they're basically running it together. They've said it. I'm going to handle this. You're going to handle this, and together we move forward. That sounds like to me. I just don't think they wanted to give her the title because, like I said, there had to be some sort of we got to on the wrist for what you did with Kimmel. So we can't give you the title, but we're going to give you the co-responsibility. I think that's how it went down. But you and I have talked about this. I liken this back in the day with Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg and Frank Wells, where this is your lane, this is our lane, stay out of it, we'll stay out of it, boom. Disney wouldn't exist without that trio. They literally saved it from being bought up by a corporate raider and sold off because they understood how to stay out of each other's lanes. I'm the commerce guy, I'm the creative guy, boom. If they do this, they'll skyrocket. They'll be incredible. If they can't do that, Disney's in big trouble.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And I think another point, too, that maybe, I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I mean, with him having such a long tenure at Disney and she didn't, I feel like maybe he proved himself a little bit more. He rose through the Disney ranks while she came in through a buyout. Like, I mean, I'm sure that was part of the conversation.
Oh, had to be.
So,
you reward tenure, right? You do.
I mean, for sure. But I think you're absolutely right. If they are able to work together in that aspect, then yeah, they will be very successful. And only time will tell, because obviously right now we don't really know what their relationship is, or even if they've had a relationship before this, right?
They're talking really well in public, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, it is going to be very interesting. But another thing that not a lot of people are talking about, and it is, yes, it's still the entertainment industry, but it is a different lane, and Dana's not a film person. She is a television person. Is this a worry? I feel like it's a little bit of a worry.
I don't.
It's not like a huge worry, but for me, it's a little bit just because, I mean, film and television is a completely different landscape. And I mean, we've seen where, the film industry has been with Disney over the past couple years. Their established IP has been hitting, but their new stuff like Elio is going to the wayside, doing awful at the box office. And then, I mean, plus Alan Bergman is going to retire here soon. He's getting old. So, I mean, what's going to happen there as well? So, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts in the film space that is about to change, especially with somebody else who is coming in that creative role. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that moves forward within, I would say, the next 5 years.
We'll see. I'm not.
But I mean, you say you're not worried about
it.
No,
because she's been with Alan Bergman, working side by side with him, because Disney understood, and this is an Iger thing, he made them of Disney Entertainment for this very reason. I don't feel worried about it at all because film has been navigating in the streaming space for the last decade. This is where it's going. They have merged. It is a single thing now, which is why so many of these companies are trying to eliminate theatrical releases. Film and streaming are now operating in one space. And it is morphed into, this is where we design films. And so I think she's fine there. She's proven she understands the streaming landscape. And I think she'll be fine with however it merges into what film becomes. Is it a 45-day window? Is it drastically cut down to you get one weekend in the theater and then it's on a streamer? She'll be fine because she's been navigating that space, anticipating the move to the streaming anyway. And I would argue this is what made Michael Eisner so successful, and Bob Iger. They understood, and you heard this in the ABC interview with DeMauro, legacy, brand. The thing that made Michael Eisner and Bob Iger stand out and massively successful, why they both ran the company for 20 plus years each, is because they understood the importance of legacy and Mickey Mouse. But they also understood that you couldn't evolve with just Mickey. And it had to be more than that. So Eisner, for example, said, hey, we can't get any grown-ups to watch our stuff. We're losing grown-ups, and that's a massive chunk of money that we're not getting. We need to do that. How do we do it? Well, we create a new film division, Touchstone Pictures. We can put out adult films, adult-oriented, not adult films, to target adult audiences without the Mickey Mouse ears or the castle. It's its own brand. Nobody will even know it's a Disney movie. Boom. He understood that in order to move forward, you needed to rely on the legacy, but go away from the legacy to do it. And there's a fine balance there. Iger knew the same thing. He's like, the brand is everything. Mickey Mouse is everything. Mickey built the house. That's what it's all about. So let's expand on that in the parks. Let's focus hard on Mickey Mouse and the brand in the parks. But we also have to think outside of Mickey and Donald and Goofy and the gang. We have to go bigger, which is why he bought Marvel, which is why he bought Star Wars, which is why he bought Pixar. He understood that you can't rely on Mickey alone to save the house. Now, if the new management can't figure that out, you hinted at they've had a little bit of success with like their legacy properties, but I would argue not with Mickey, not with Donald, not with them. They got lucky with Moana and Lilo and Stitch with the live actions, okay? But lately, their initial properties weren't doing so well, which is why they had to, let's make live action out of them because the animated sequels aren't doing well, kind of a thing. They need to figure out, in my opinion, how to bring in new IP. New IP that's completely different, completely fresh, and not associated with the legacy. But here's the key, without ignoring or forgetting the legacy, right? Think about Jeffrey Katzenberg back in the day. Animation was Disney, right? Animation built Disney. Mickey Mouse, the innovation. Walt Disney built a specific camera just for feature-length films of anime. So there was evolution and innovation, no doubt about it. When animation started failing, they said, Jeffrey Katzenberg's like, we've got to bring it back. Disney is all about animation. That's what we are. That's who we are. But they didn't go to Mickey. They didn't do that. They brought in fresh, original IP. The Lion King, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin. Boom! Reestablished Disney as the animation king. No hands, no question. And then when that started to fade, Iger said, Pixar. We've got to capture animation. Animation is Disney's key. It's success. But it ain't working. How do we go away from traditional animation, innovate, evolve, stay true to the legacy, but be different? And this is all I'm trying to say. If Dana and Josh can do that, then they're going to be fine. But they can't rely on established IP that they already own. They have to figure out a way to protect the brand, protect the legacy, and move forward with new IP, which means risk. It's chances. Warner Brothers with Sinners. Like you have to take chances. And for me, and then I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it, I think it's the mid-range budget, the $60 to $100 million budget movies. That is where Disney is going to thrive. If they can take risks within that budget frame for both streaming and theatrical, I think they can succeed, but they have to be careful with what they pick and how they put it out. But I think if they can find that ground, they can be extremely successful. And I just want to point out, and then it's all you, my friend, the third quarter numbers, the recent numbers came out. Film and television and entertainment was right here. The parks, I mean, the numbers show it. It was this. And for a long time, and rightfully so, where I see your point about Josh and they're worried about the money. But the latest numbers, it was this. Because streaming has become profitable. You know why entertainment was down and the parks were so high? Because of the offset of streaming. Nobody could figure out streaming. It's like, oh my God, we didn't know the infrastructure was going to be so expensive. We didn't know we had to have all of this. We didn't know it was going to cost us this, which hence the price hikes all the time. They had to figure out. But now that it's profitable, the gap has closed again. And I think if done properly, you see it go. So I think it can work. I do think it can work.
Yeah, I completely agree with you in the sense that they definitely need to find something else. Maybe this Hoppers even, I mean, we've talked about that. That's just like a children's version of Avatar.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, maybe they can make a franchise out of it like they did with, the Inside Out franchise, or Encanto was very good. I mean, I don't know if they're ever going to make more of those, but I mean, it's situations like that where, yes, animation wise, they do need to continue changing and evolutionizing and finding new voices that need to be heard, that also in a time that we're in don't need to be so political, because we
Correct.
know where that's at in society. And then also, I mean, you also got to think about how many times can I say also in like 3 seconds? You have to think about 20th century as well, because this is the first year in a while that there wasn't an Oscar nominated film. I think they wanted it to be Deliver Me from Nowhere, the Bruce Springsteen film, but it wasn't. So, I mean, you got to think about that too when it comes to critically acclaimed successes moving forward in different Oscars races. So it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen moving forward. I am interested in seeing how they work together, and I'm hoping it's well, because obviously we love Disney and we want it to be very successful. And the stock prices were a little scared. They're a little scared. So there still needs to be a lot of ground that needs to be walked upon, and there needs to be a lot of things that need to be proven to the stock shares, to the stock holders, and to us as well. So it is going to be very interesting. But then also, we got to think about the future as well. What is this new AI deal gonna, include? What's it gonna incorporate? We've talked about, the different AI possibilities on Disney Plus when it comes to beloved characters. Are we gonna get more into that? And then how are they? Or I mean, we say they, but how is he gonna put his stamp on the legacy? Right? I mean, Bob Iger is never gonna be touched. In my opinion, he is a better CEO. He accomplished more than Michael Eisner. Obviously, Michael Eisner saved Disney in a time of desperate need.
I would say equal.
But I mean, as far as acquisitions, I feel like Bob Iger, in my opinion, is obviously no one's going to be able to touch him. So he's going to have to not look at it in that aspect. He can't try to fill those shoes because they're so large. And you also can't prove yourself when going out and buying things. I feel like that is also kind of a situation that Iger got a little caught up in, and that kind of became his legacy, which is astonishing. You bought so many amazing properties and you see what it did for Disney, but also you got to make your own legacy, walk your own path. So I'm hoping he finds a way to do that in his own way,
Well, here's why I think Dana is key for AI. Because Josh, in that interview with ABC, clearly is a fan. He said, oh yeah, this is where we're going. This is how it is. We're going to incorporate it in, right? We've already heard the writers say they're probably going on strike. Christopher Nolan came out earlier this week and said, we're likely going to go on strike, right? They are not. The entertainment community is not on board with AI. They're not going to get on board with AI. It's not a go, okay? As much as AI is infiltrating, but it's happening. And this is why Dana is key, because Dana has those relationships with talent. They trust her. They believe her. They know that she'll look out for them. So when you're looking for a studio that is inundating with AI that will protect select the creators. Dana is key in bringing those creators to Disney. And I feel like Josh has to stay out of that lane. It has to. That is where Dana will excel. If you want it, if you want that AI to work with Disney, and you want it to infiltrate into the Hollywood and into what you're trying to do in the film and streaming, you have to allow her that space, because that's where she will succeed, because talent trusts her. Nolan will trust her. It's key, right? Nolan isn't just a director and a filmmaker anymore. He's the head of the Directors Guild. You want the head of a guild to trust your studio head. And I think that's going to be key. The other thing that I think is extremely important, the one move that they have to make immediately, and this is more Dana than Josh, because as they've clarified, Dana is in full control of content and creativity. She has to erase every aspect of what Chapek did. Every aspect of it. And I mean that by she has to give back full autonomy to Kevin Feige. Marvel has suffered because Chapek came in and took control. Didn't allow Feige to make decisions on his own. Ordered what should be done and shouldn't be done. Cut films. Added television shows, took away the autonomy that Kevin Feige had when he built the MCU. That has got to be reestablished. Feige has to have full authority on his own to build universes, to greenlight films or not greenlight films, decide how much goes out, how little goes out. Has to go back to that. And I think we're already moving in the right direction, and neither Josh nor Dana needs to step on this. When Kathleen steps down, Dave Filoni is the perfect example of that is an existing IP that will be brand new IP. Meaning he will guard the legacy of George Lucas, but he will introduce new things, which they've done already under Filoni, and that is like key to the future of Star Wars. So Dana, in my opinion, just needs to allow that to happen. You run Marvel, you run Lucasfilm, bring in who's ever in charge of Pixar, and function as three companies on your own and do what you do. That's what Iger did. That's why it was successful. And they've got to get back to that, because anybody who's questioning whether Marvel is, what's Marvel's problems? Nobody wants to see a Star Wars film anymore. It's because people got involved that shouldn't have been involved. Just get out of their way and let them do what they've done for decades, and they'll be fine.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting because we have both a Marvel and Star Wars film coming out this year. So we're going to see how those films play at the box office. And, I mean, it's been 3 years since Chapek was in charge. Do you think they're still having problems with different things that he set into place?
I think that they're trying to overcome stuff that he did. Right? It's taking... Remember, the Russo brothers refused to work for Marvel or Disney under Chapek. So, it took forever to be They probably wanted to build this Doomsday and Secret Wars thing ages ago, but the Russo brothers wouldn't come. And so the second that Feige was able to get, hey, whoa, these guys understand Marvel, they understand what we're trying to do, they understand long-term storytelling, boom, we need them back. So it's those type things. I think that Feige is in the process of, now that Chapek is gone, fixing over a course of time what was damaged. And that anybody knows. It's like in politics with the White House. All the stuff that's damaged in 4 years has to be fixed. But most of the time it takes 8 or 10 years to fix what the damage was in 4, right? I think that's what's happening at Marvel. And I think that it's on the right path. We can see it going back. They've cut down content. It's quality over quantity again. It's long-term storytelling. They're building out long-term storytelling like they did initially. I think they're back on the right track, but it does take some time. Like I said, I feel very confident that Dana is going to allow them to do that. And if not, well, we could be in trouble. You just, I'm optimistic, though. I'm optimistic. I'll say that. They seem like a good pair. They seem like they balance each other really well. I just don't want Dana over here, and I don't want Josh over here. Just stay just like this, and the Mouse House will be just fine.
Yeah, completely agree. That was what I was going to say. Closing thoughts is like, yeah, I'm okay with this. I feel like, again, he seems like a genuine human being. Him and his wife were high school sweethearts. I think that's adorable. So, I mean, I'm hoping that, yeah, as long as they navigate each other's lane and are able to respect each other's decision and have conversations like everyone in the world should have about anything, everything will be okay. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how long this tenure is because he's like only in his mid 50s. So yeah, it'll be very interesting
And
to see
Dana
that.
is young. So I
Yeah,
feel
she
like,
is.
if you want to do this right, they should be working side by side as partners, and he should be grooming her to take over, much like Eisner, Michael Eisner did for Bob Iger. It was you are eventually going to be the guy. So, and the board was hesitant about that at first. But now you should just do that. You should be like, we are working side by side together and I am grooming so that we don't run into succession problems in the future. If I decide I want to step away for health reasons, if I decide I want to just try something new, or I'm just tired and want to be with my family or whatever, it's an instant replacement. Boom, done. And so I think that if they can have that relationship and that's how they move forward, I think, yeah, I mean, you're looking at 30, 40, 50 years down the line, Disney being a solid powerhouse and the remaining sole studio. If they do this, does that crumble? We lose the last standing studio. Apple swoops in, buys it, and now it's all tech companies. No longer, this is what we have to look for. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Well, keeping on brand with Disney, we're going to head over to our top 5 segment where this week it is top 5 IPs that Disney just hasn't bought yet. Now, let's explain this a little bit more. It's really top 5 IPs that would be interesting to have a Disney twist.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's fun. I
They
think
were
it's fun.
available. If they were
available, they will never be available.
Probably not. But,
yeah, but I mean, it's fun to play. It's fun to play. And like there's one on mine and one on yours that is basically the same, but I think it's very revolutionary in the sense of I think it would really work if it was Disney.
I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
And I'm talking about for well, we'll say that. We'll say it a little bit later. But right now, number 5 for me is Wicked. Wicked, man. Oh my gosh. I mean, think about it. It's a musical. Disney does so well with musicals. Think about the colors. Think about all of the amazing different animations. Hopefully not like Snow White animations because we know how that went over. But hopefully, to see different things that Disney could do in that world, I think would be very interesting to see. I think the songs would play out. I definitely feel like if Disney had this property, then there would have been a little bit more space between Wicked and Wicked for Good, in my opinion. But yeah, I thought that would be an interesting one if that had a little Disney twist to it. My number 5, Wicked.
Yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit more later because, yeah, I see. I have also some thoughts on that. My number 5, Doctor Who. It is one of the longest running and surviving sci-fi franchises out there, and it's like the Law and Order of sci-fi. They every so often it's a new Doctor Who. They consistently replace the cast, right? But it works. And it's worked on like BBC. It's worked on all these like weird, where do I have to find it to watch it kind of a thing. So the fact that it's survived all these decades and unless you lived in Europe or could find it on some random God knows what channel over here, it's like, imagine if it was available. It was just, boom, it's on Hulu or it's on, I would love to see what Disney would do with full access to Doctor Who. What would it be, right? How badass would that phone booth be, his time machine? Like, where would it be? I'm just saying, I think a Disney-fied Doctor Who would be badass, And that is something you could continue to maintain live action or animated. I think a bunch of little animated features about Doctor Who would be amazing because then you could take it even further on the scope of what you can't do live action, right? Even with all the technology, I just think it would be amazing. So yeah, my number 5, Doctor Who.
That's a fun one. Yeah, that's it. That'd be an interesting twist for sure, for sure. Number 4 for me goes to the Harry Potter franchise. What would this look like under Disney? I definitely feel like it would definitely be not as dark. If you go back and look at Chamber of Secrets, the second one, and Prisoner of Azkaban, those were two very dark films, not just like shot wise, cinematography wise, but also like subject matter wise. And I think that that would probably be changed, in which it's going to be interesting to see how HBO Max and Warner Brothers does with this new interpretation of the Harry Potter books for the
Yeah.
television series with
Yeah.
the younger kids. So that's going to be fun. But to imagine, I could, if Disney had this property, I would look at it a lot like in between of the Harry Potters now and Wizards of Waverly Place. Like meet in the middle of not so bright and peppy and not so dark and gloom. So somewhere in the middle between those two properties, I think is what a Harry Potter Disney franchise would look like, in my opinion. And it's just so fun to like try to imagine these. I'm trying to picture them in my head, and like while they're doing spells and stuff, it'd be very
Well,
bright, probably a lot of rainbows.
you know why it would work? Because for anybody who doesn't know, pretty much all of Disney's original films, right? Like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, basically all of them, like they're all from Grimm fairy
Yeah.
tales. And if you read the Grimm fairy tales, the Grimm brothers fairy tales, they're dark, twisted, nasty shit. And Disneyfied them and made them the beloved characters that they are. But if you go back and read those books, they're scary. They're fucking scary. So I could see that. I could see them taking the Lord of the Rings, which is somewhat dark and and Disneyfying it and making them. I mean, come on. Like, think about it. Frodo and the Hobbits, they could be the next dwarfs. They could be go-lucky, like,
Right.
big feet, little floppy, fun guys, and so I, I could see it work. I could totally see your point. I could see it work. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, you're Harry Potter. I'm talking Lord of the Rings. I'm skipping ahead. I just blew my number 3. I combine them, but okay. So I'll just do number 3, and then I'll go back to my number 4.
There you go,
With
yeah.
your Harry Potter, I see that. I see them taking these dark franchises and Disneyfying them, taking these characters and making them lovable like they did. So yeah, my number 3. I need more coffee. I swear it's only coffee in there. Lord of the Rings. And we'll go back to my number 4, which I guess I can do right now. Pokemon. Pokemon. You know why I would like to see Disney get Pokemon? Because Disney is like the creator of goofy characters. Goofy! Is it a dog? Is it a man? We don't know. Like, they could take these characters, these beloved Pikachu and all these other characters, and imagine what they could do with that world. I think it would be amazing for them to take a hold of these goofy characters and put them in scenarios, make them more human, if you will, like they did with Mickey Mouse and all of that. I just think it would be really interesting to see how they would do that, because they are these beloved but quirky, weird characters, which is what Disney thrived on early on. Look at Oswald the Rabbit. Look at the first interpretation of Mickey and all these. I think they'd be fantastic with taking Pokemon and just running with it.
Yeah, that's honestly like the biggest one that I wish I would have thought of that is on your list, to be honest, because like I really could imagine Disney doing Pokemon like Who Framed Roger Rabbit type of thing, where like the trainers are live action and the Pokemon are obviously CGI or what have you, kind of like a Sonic the Hedgehog type
Without
of thing
doubt.
right now. So yeah, I really was mad when I saw that. I was like, damn it, I should have put that on mine. That's funny. Well, my number 3, it goes to the Boy Scout himself. I feel like he is made for this, but Disney doesn't own this franchise, so it only makes sense. But I'm talking about Superman. Superman is supposed to be the bright, shining knight in blue trunks or red trunks, and I just feel like Superman and Disney were made for each other. But then came DC and Warner Brothers and denied them all of their chips. But I don't know. I think a Superman, it would definitely be like. Because I'm obviously like I love David Cornsweet. That's my Superman. But the majority of my life growing up, it was Henry Cavill. So when I think of a Henry Cavill Superman in a Disney universe, that's super weird. Like
Yeah,
I
that
don't
wouldn't
like
work.
it.
No.
It's very weird. I don't like it. But I could see a David Corn Sweat in a Disney. But I mean, I think it would also be more lighthearted. I think you would probably get more Clark Kent if Disney Superman were to happen. It would probably be mostly Clark Kent and then some Superman. But yeah, I just thought that would be interesting. So number 3 for me, Superman.
Well, look at it. If the Christopher Reeve Superman, right? That's the Godfather of them all, the go-to, right? Very lighthearted. There were moments of intense stuff, but for the most part, he was the big blue Boy Scout, the campy guy, the nerdy Clark, right? And you saw that very heavily in Marvel's early films. Why? Because Kevin Feige came up under Richard Donner, who did the Superman films. He understood. There's a reason why Kevin Feige made anybody who worked on a Marvel film watch Superman. It was the bar they had to meet, right? So, and which is why James Gunn's films are very reminiscent of, right? He made it a point of trying to make it honor to the Christopher Reeve legacy of Superman with, and Corn Sweat carried that. No, let's put the trunks back on him. Let's make him a bit more goofy, right? While making him serious, which is what Christopher Reeve and Richard Donner were able to do so well. So, yeah, I think if Disney had it, I think they would go that route, right? Clearly, Warner Brothers tried to escape that route for a little bit, which was a mistake. We'll see what happens if Warner Brothers stays Warner Brothers or what the hell happens. But I think they're on the right path of getting that back. So, yeah. And now that we kind of bounced, you're number 2.
Yeah, my number 2, having conversations with a lot of different people about this top 5, they were surprised that this wasn't a Disney film.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, normal people, they don't know studios and who does what. And I'm talking about Shrek. That's right, Smash Mouth Shrek. Oh my gosh. Yes, DreamWorks, Universal. That's where Shrek comes from, not Disney. Because, I mean, this came out in the time of Toy Story, Incredibles, like, all Ratatouille, like all of those great CGI, Pixar, Disney animation films that came out in that era. Shrek also came out in that era, and Shrek held their own with all of these different established IPs from the Mouse House. So everyone really thought that Shrek was a Disney property, but it's not. It's not.
I can tell you why they thought it.
Why?
Because when Shrek was created with DreamWorks, you know who was still involved with DreamWorks and one of the founders of DreamWorks? Jeffrey Katzenberg. Jeffrey Katzenberg, who reinvented Disney animation with The Lion King, The Little Mermaid, and would have been at Disney except for the big fallout with Michael Eisner when he left to start DreamWorks with Spielberg. And so there you go. I mean, why do they think it's Disney? Because the guy that saved Disney animation created it. So, I mean, it makes total sense. It fell right in line with what Katzenberg was doing at Disney. He just took it to DreamWorks. And so that's why. If people thought it was a Disney property, it only makes sense.
There you go.
Katzenberg was a genius back in the day before he started these weird things that he's working on now or whatever, but he was a genius back in the day.
I mean, maybe Quibi would have been successful if it was like 3 years later.
Agreed. Maybe just ahead of his time. I don't know. Maybe, come on, Cats, get out there, do something, buddy. I know you can still got it in you. My number 2, back to what I was going to follow up with on Wicked for you. I mean, if Dorothy and Glinda don't scream Disney princesses, what? Mm-hmm. They're literally Disney princesses. So it only makes sense if Disney had this property that they would be Disney princesses. It's like it makes total sense. And I said Wizard of Oz instead of Wicked, just in the sense I want the whole universe, the whole kit and caboodle, every possible path of just bring it all and give us whatever. And I don't think a lot of people realize, that the book, The Wizard of Oz by Frank Baum there, dark and twisted. Mm-hmm. Very dark and twisted. It's not the beloved movie that we all know and love. It's a very dark, tortured story that became a very beloved film when they, glorified and glammed it up a little bit. So I think Disney would even take it beyond that, right? They do it, Disneyfy, as I say. They Disneyfy it and turn it into like the Disney princesses and the franchise. And I think, I'm right there with you, man. I think it would be freaking brilliant. Like,
Yeah,
it's never going to happen.
I'd go on record and say it would probably be more successful if it was a Disney film.
Oh, without
Like,
doubt. Without
yeah.
doubt. Like, yeah, it would be. And just case in point with that, look at Enchanted. How they basically took that and made it real world, right? What if they put Dorothy in modern day New York?
Yeah, that'd be
That
crazy.
would be so crazy, right? Like just an idea like that. But I could totally see that working. What if you pluck her out of Kansas and Oz, shove her into the middle of a big city? She's got to get a real job, and she can't just hit the slippers when the job ain't working out and go home, I think it would be great to see stuff like that. And Disney would be just, Dana, are you listening? Dana, work out something with Amazon MGM, and make it. I'm just saying.
Right? I mean, how does that work? Do they still have the property since Universal made the Wicked movies? Like
they do, yeah. Amazon owns The Wizard of Oz, so yeah. I don't know if that was a licensing kind of a thing with Universal as to what, but I think it was strictly Wicked rights.
Yeah,
right. Which is
Wizard
why
of
you
Oz
see
rights.
minimal Dorothy in the gang, right? It's like it's so. But currently, Amazon MGM owns. Well, let me rephrase. Warner Brothers owns it because of MGM owned it. Ted Turner bought all of MGM's library at one point. When AOL Time Warner merged, that became Warner Brothers Properties. So MGM still has the banner on the front, but it's actually a Warner Brothers property now. Which, you can figure that out. How Universal got it for
so
Wicked,
many
but
hands
it's
in the
all
pot
like,
with this. Yeah,
but
there's
yeah,
so many hands
thank
in
you,
the
Ted
pot.
Turner. That's a Ted Turner mess right there. But he bought the library from MGM, but then Warner Brothers, and then yeah.
There it is. See how complicated Hollywood is, y'all?
This
is it.
So it's
This
a
is
Warner Brothers property.
There you go. Well, my
For
number
now.
one, for now.
Netflix?
Exactly.
Oh God! Oh,
Yeah.
what will Netflix do with the
We're
Wizard
not
of
there
Oz?
yet. We're not there yet. Oh goodness. Anyway, well, my number one goes to Jurassic Park / Jurassic World. I think this would be a really interesting twist on, this established IP. I think a Spielberg Disney movie would be very interesting. I don't know if they've ever worked together. I don't know if Spielberg's ever done a Disney movie. It would make
an excellent
sense,
question.
I feel like, but also Spielberg likes to go a little bit more edgy on some things, but not like too edgy, because he's not like a super edgy guy.
Maybe
but
he's produced some Disney stuff for with
Yeah.
Ron Howard and stuff. I don't know if he's directed a film for Disney, but I
Yeah.
feel like he's definitely been on board as a producer of something with Ron Howard or something like that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but I think Jurassic Park / Jurassic World would have been a good Disney property. I think that would have done very well, if not better, maybe. I don't know. We're just playing what have yous here. But I think this would be interesting. Maybe like a live action like Land Before Time. I know that's probably a bad representation for everyone out there on the internet who has been hammering us for shit, but it's fine. But yeah, in my opinion, I think Jurassic Park / World would be an interesting Disney property.
I like it. Okay, my number one, and this kind of falls under the whole Michael Eisner, let's create Touchstone so we can put adult stuff out, right? I think I would like to see what Disney would do with this property. James Bond. I just think about Disney in charge of James Bond. What would we get? I would like to see a James Bond film by Disney with Ryan Coogler at the helm and Michael B. Jordan in the lead. Damn, that would be good. Or even a woman. Give me just like some. I can't even think off the top of my head who I would want it to be, because there's a handful that I think would just be amazing. But I feel like Disney would be brave enough to give us our first woman James Bond. I do. And make her a princess. I don't know. But it would be interesting. I really would like to see what they would do with such an iconic brand that is infamously known as, sex and martinis and the player Bond. And I would like to see what they would do with it. It would be I don't know. Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see how they could move forward with a brand like that. And again, it falls back to what I was saying about what I think they need to do in the sense of taking risks. Like, what would you do with a property like that? How would you guard your brand, but move forward with that risk? I think so. I think that's why I put it on the list, honestly. It's like, what would you do with that? So, yeah, number one, James Bond for me.
Yeah, that would be a definitely very interesting turn of events. I feel like for
Right?
James Bond, like I can't even fathom that one. That would be one you would have to see, and like it's hard to even like try to come up with things that could possibly
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
That's so funny, but we want to know what your favorite established IP would be if Disney put a little twist on it. Or we want to know what IP would be interesting with a Disney twist on it. Be sure to comment down below in the YouTube comment section, add us on X Threads, any of the places on social media. We love the fan interaction. This was a fun one. This is a hypothetical, man. Don't
Yes.
get crazy. Don't get crazy.
That's right. Don't come at us. We know they don't own them. We know they
Yeah.
can't own them. Or
Yeah.
never say can't. I'm just saying.
Never say
never
never,
say
but,
can't.
You know. Now heading over to the box office recap, where obviously we're in the first couple months of the year, and there's not a lot of things coming out as far as huge wise. But we did get some surprises last week,
Yeah.
which was awesome to see. Number one last week was Send Help, that new Rachel McAdams film, which did look very interesting. It brought in about $20 million. Number two was The Iron Lung, which did not have a traditional theatrical release. This guy is a YouTuber, content creator, and completely funded this film by himself, negotiated with theaters to put his film in theatrical experiences. This goes back to one of your predictions where creators are making specific deals and relationships with theater chains so that they don't have to deal with studio systems.
And-
so that's freaking awesome.
And look how amazing. Profitable in one weekend.
Yeah.
$3 million budget, which means you have to make twice that to break even. He made 18. So he's
Yeah.
$12 million profit off the first weekend. And I'm sure he'll get more in the theaters a little after that. But once that thing hits a streamer somewhere, that is solid gold, like bankable right there. So if you're a creator out there, it is doable.
It is.
And everybody's saying, well, you have $3 million. Guys, self-financing, that means he could. It doesn't necessarily mean he had $3 million in his pocket to do it. It means that he sold the upfront foreign rights, or, there are numerous ways to fund your movie on your own by selling rights off, or per se, and to fund it yourself, as opposed to, I put it on a credit card, or I, made my YouTube money. But so, that don't take it for like, he had $3 million. I don't have $3 million. If you're a creator, take a shot. Make your movie. Get out there. Do it, because he's proof positive. You can do it.
Exactly. I'm betting he'll make more money this weekend as well,
Oh, for
because
sure.
we have the Super Bowl, so there's nothing really big coming out. And
No.
then also the day of this recording, the Olympics opening ceremony. So, Fridays are going to be washed. But anyway, enough with that. Stuff that still came out last week in the top 5. Melania, which was very interesting. Some theaters have already pulled it. Amazon had to pull it from some theaters, so I'm betting this will not be in the top 5 next week. Number 4 is Zootopia 2, still making a lot of money with $5.8 million, and number 5 was Shelter with $5.5 million. New movies coming out: Strangers Chapter 3, The Goat, Solo Milo, Dracula, Stray Kids, The Dominant Experience. Again, I don't see any of those films. Maybe Strangers.
Yeah,
Chapter 3
that's a pretty
gets
good
into top 5.
franchise, so maybe that'll do well on
Yeah.
Saturday. Forget the opening Olympics on Friday and Super Bowl's on Sunday, but maybe Saturday people turn
Yeah.
out to go see, because it has been a pretty successful franchise, and it is out
has.
there and twisted and original. So maybe so. And The Goat. If you're a Steph Curry fan, maybe you go see that. It's like the new generation of Looney Tunes. So I don't know, with Michael Jordan and when the basketball movies and animation and but I don't think it'll be the same, but
yeah, it's not. It's not. I feel like it's just every year this time of year is just really like your throwaway movies.
Oh, without doubt.
I mean, it is what it is. It's nice that Send Help made $20 million. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then other movies you can still go see: Mercy, Chris Pratt sits in a chair. Primate, The Housemaid, Marty Supreme, Sung Sung Blue, and so many more.
And is this thing on? Go see those, and Greenland too. There are some good movies out there if you just go find them. They're still there. I promise, man. Go see them.
That's funny. And then, of course, the IMDb Pro top trending segment. The top trending movie is Melania, of course, for negative reasons. The top trending TV show is Bridgerton. Part 1 of Season 4 came back, and I've already finished it. It's fantastic, y'all. Be sure to check that out. And then the top trending star is Catherine O'Hara, of course, with her passing, which is super sad, which we started Schitt's Creek because of her passing. And it's super fun, by the way, if you've never watched it.
Yeah. I mean, legend. Yeah, I mean, and it's sad because she was like, had this like huge run as of recent,
very active.
Active. Like with the studio and Beetlejuice, and just like she was popping up everywhere again.
She was out there.
It's so sad, man.
It is. But I hope everyone enjoyed this show. I hope everyone enjoyed our conversation about Disney. Oh my goodness, super excited to see where that's going to go the next couple of years. Definitely changes starting March 15th. As always, y'all, thank you again for listening. You can follow us on social media. The company, Crazy Ant Media, is at Crazy Ant Media. The podcast is at ITCAFpodcast, and then our mental health podcast is at Everything's OKP. And then, of course, you can follow us both personally on social media. Myself, I am at J. Logan Austin, and
I am at Crazy Ant CEO.
That's right, man. That's right. And you can subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and so much more. You can like the video on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for all the latest and greatest notifications coming out of Crazy Ant Media. And another important message as well, our Everything's Okay podcast will now only strictly be on Spotify. Apple Podcasts does not like us, apparently, and our music, which makes no sense because, we get it royalty free. But whatever, it's fine. Just check that out. We have a new episode that dropped last week about continuing to show up. And I think, it's a great episode. So be sure to check that out.
Oh, yeah, phenomenal. Phenomenal
and
episode.
And then be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can learn a little bit about us and our projects and everything else we have going on. And, of course, our merchandise. Be sure to check that out. But, yeah, it was a fun episode, man. I mean, there's so much about these freaking people at Disney. It's going to be so interesting because this is going to be the legacy that probably my kids are going to experience that these people create. So that's what I'm kind of envisioning, thinking about the new CEO and CCO. So I don't know, man. It's going to be weird.
These two will determine whether my grandchildren, your children, have a Disney. Yes. I mean, the company's future depends on these two getting it right. Otherwise, Disney may fade away and be gone before, I just get your hands on all those tapes that you're trying to get, because they might be the only source of Disney that the kids have going forward. It's like, just what? So, yeah, I'm right there with you, man. It's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But as always, for 319 episodes,
she ain't going nowhere.
No, she ain't going nowhere. She was exercising. It was her birthday like a week or two ago.
Right,
she was like very fit. The one, the only,
Oprah!